joining the military experience. So, like, comment, subscribe down below. If you have let's get into the video.
Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, I decided that I wanted to join the military. The Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, the Army. You also have your National Guards. I'm really into the Air Force and the Army. So the Air Force and the Army were my top 2 branches that I wanted to join. So after doing some research, I watched like every single body's military YouTube videos, especially like the female ones, because as a female, as a person of color, you want to get as much information. Well, any job, really, you want to get as much information as possible, because sometimes the recruiter's not going to tell you, or when you get there, you might, this is not what I wanted to sign up for. So, words of the wise, do a lot of research.
I did my research went to a recruiter's office. So,
I went to the Air Force recruiter, and I just went in and said, hey, you know, I'm interested in joining the Air Force. I want to learn more about it. He had me fill out some forms. He asked me some questions like, do you have a degree? Did you go to school? Did you graduate? Do you have any felonies? How many tattoos? How many piercings do you have? The basics. So I was trying to like ask him a little bit more about the Air Force, but he really was just like, oh, here's a packet, fill this out and come back. So right then I was kind of like, okay, I feel like I was kind of being rushed, you know what I'm saying? So then, because you don't just want to go with the first branch, or you could if that's your preference, but I kind of went to talk to different recruiters. So then I went to go meet with my friend's recruiter, because my friend is joining the Army. She has a female recruiter. So I went to talk to her. I sat down with her. I'm like, hey, I'm interested in joining the military. What do I have to do? Like, what do I need? And she was like, wait a minute. Like, make sure this is the right thing that you want to do. Why do you want to join the Army? What do you like to do? She was just asking me like, oh, so you went to school. Okay, what did you do in school? What do you like to do? So she was asking me, she was trying to get to know me, which I liked, because I felt like we kind of had like a connection versus fill out this paperwork and then that's it, that's all. So I went home, I did more research. I like Googled different MOSs. I looked up the benefits. And I also, like, if you decide to go in with a friend, they have this thing called the buddy system, which I believe some jobs offer bonuses for. So I asked her about the buddy system. So I went home and I made a list of questions. So I asked her, like, what jobs, you know, offer bonuses. What jobs are transferable to a civilian job? So after you get out the military, what job is like better suited for like civilian life? Because you don't want to like get trained in skills and then you get out and you can't really get like a good job. So I asked her that. Of course, being a female, being natural, how did she wear her hair? Can you wear braids? Can you wear sew-ins? When do you get to do your hair? So questions like that. Excuse me, y'all, I'm sick and I'm trying to get over it. I also asked her, if you live by yourself, if you have your own place, if you're deciding to go active duty, how long do they give you to get your affairs in order? Because you're not going to be coming home, so you have to like put your stuff in storage, or you can sell your stuff, or do one or the other. So I was getting information on like different storages, like the pricing, you know, what to tell my landlord, things like that. Because a lot of videos I see, I didn't see a lot of people talk about if you live by yourself, the process of transitioning into the military. So that, I think that's key. Also, if you wear glasses like me or contacts, you know that you have to bring, like, if you go to Maps, you have to bring your glasses and your contacts. Because when you do the eye exam, I guess they want to know, like, your vision or whatever. So if you're like me, you have astigmatism, you have to get a waiver. So my recruiter gave me a waiver before I went to MEPS to give to my eye doctor to fill out, just to say, with glasses and contacts on, her vision is 20/20. Without them, and then they put whatever your prescription is. I also asked her about PT because, as you know, you have to do 3 tests: push-ups, sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. You don't really work out as much. So I was like, well, I don't really work out like that. So what, you know, is that going to affect me in basic training? And my recruiter basically told me, like, she wasn't the best either, but as long as you pass the last one, then you're good. So my advice would be start doing your push-ups and your sit-ups, and if you want to go run, start running so you can kind of get like a head start. Because at first, when I tried to do push-ups, I can only do 2. I couldn't really do it. Sit-ups, I can do like 20, but once it hit like the 30 mark, like, I was tired, using my neck muscles, and it was just tragic. So you want to get on top of that early before you go. And basically, don't be discouraged. The first day I went into the recruiting office, she made me take a pre-test, which is like the pre-ASVAB test, which is the aptitude battery test that you have to take to get a score to determine what your MOS, what your job will be. Don't be discouraged. I went in there and I got a 17 on that practice test. And if you haven't done math, basic algebra, equations like that in a while, then you want to study. However, they do have study guides on Quizlet. Quizlet is key. Quizlet is key. So the only good thing about it was when I went to the Air Force, he gave me the packet. The packet you can take in the office or you can take at home. It just depends on the recruiter that you're at. So I took my packet at home, which kind of helped because you get 72 hours to take it. But you still can use a calculator. You can't use the internet. You can't get any help. You have to do it all on your own. So I took it and I scored. I got a good score on it. Then, like, the next day, I texted my recruiter and I'm like, hey, I took the packet. I got the score. But because I took it with the Air Force recruiter gave it to me, I had to contact that recruiter in order to get my line score so I can start looking up jobs. But my recruiter for the Air Force, like, he wasn't staying in contact with me. I went to the office. He wasn't there. He texted me. He was like, oh, we switched offices. I didn't tell you, but he didn't tell me. So I'm already, like, in the process with the Army. So long story short, I texted my recruiter and I'm like, I tried to get my scores because you need your scores when you take your verification for MEPS. Try to get my scores. I couldn't get it personally, so I asked my recruiter if she could reach out to get my scores, which she did, because obviously I went to MEPS the next week after I took my verification test. I passed my verification test. Some people don't pass. It will roll you into the full ASVAB test, and you know that's like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hour test, depending on how long, because it's 5 sections. It's arithmetic and reasoning, I think vocabulary, word knowledge, vocabulary. It's like paragraph structures, sentences, something like that. Mechanics and and then there was another part about like putting the shapes and stuff together. I don't really know what it's called, but it's 5 parts. You take the packet. The packet is the same thing. I think it was like some sections had 15 questions, some sections had 20 questions. Another thing, the vocabulary, don't let that fool you. The vocabulary is not what the definition to the word is. The vocabulary portion is what the synonym of the word is. So I would say study the synonyms, because if you don't know and you're like, oh, accomplish, and you say, oh, this is the definition, but the definition is not going to be on the list, you have to know what the synonym of that word is. Sometimes you got to know the synonym of the synonym. So I learned that after I took the practice, and I was like, this is not adding up to the definition. And then your recruiter will enroll you into like March to Success, which will have like practice math, practice vocabulary. But if you're like me, I'm a visual learner. So like March with Success was good, but it didn't help me with like the math portion. So I went on like YouTube and I watched like YouTube videos, and I like sat at home and like did it, stuff like that. Another thing, Quizlet, you can get ASVAB for Dummies, the test. If you Google ASVAB for Dummies, some people buy it. You don't have to buy it. It's online for free. You don't even have to download it. It's for free, and I would say use that to study the word knowledge. That was very helpful to me. Make flashcards if you want. Look up the synonyms if you want. The vocabulary portion of March to Success was good as well, because it teaches you like the acronyms, and it teaches you how to like do process of elimination if you don't know. So that was really good. And then after that, so after you take your ASVAB or your PACAT, whichever test you take, you get your scores, then your recruiter will sign you up to go to MAPS. So when you go to MAPS, I think some people go and they do everything in one day. Like they test, they do their physicals, their eye exams, everything. When I went to MAPS, I just went to do my verification test. And that was tragic because they wanted us to meet them at 5 o'clock in the morning. We went to MAPS, got there at 6. No, we got there like 5:36, but we couldn't test because they told us they don't do like the testing until around 12 o'clock. So the people who, nobody knew that. So we basically had to come all the way back to our recruiting office. You could leave if you want, but you had to come back. Everybody just stayed and went to sleep. Then we went back like around 11:30, 12, and then we took our test. The test, if you don't enroll in the full ASVAB, is 30 minutes. And if you watch other people YouTube videos, some people said that their verification test was the exact same questions. Some people say it was the exact same questions plus a few extra questions. The test that I took was the exact same questions. It was nothing new in there. It was exactly the same. Yeah, and I passed. Like, it didn't enroll me into the full test. And then after that, you take 2 more tests. You take like a psychological test or a psychosocial test. And then you basically take a test to see like what job fits you. Is you look up your scores, look up your line scores, and then. But the other thing is, you don't have to take the jobs that your recruiter suggests for you. Those are just jobs that you scored good and you may do well in. Like my recruiter gave me a list of 5 jobs, and I'm not taking any of those jobs. So you can pick the job that you want. Make sure you pick a job that you want, that you like, that you're going to go into the military and that you're going to do good in. Make sure it's a job that the skills transfer over into the civilian world, because a lot of jobs, like you can Google the MOS and I think it's like career building or something like that, and it tells you the job, the description, how long basic training is, how long AIT training is, and then it tells you what jobs it transfers over to into the civilian world. Also ask your recruiter about the different bonuses, because some of the jobs that she gave me have enlisting bonuses on top of extra bonuses. So if you want to go in there for the money, you don't really care about the job, then take the job with the bonus. But if you're like me, I want to do a job that I know I'm going to like, that's going to best suit me. So I know I like working with people, so I'm not going to go sign up for a job where I have to like fix vehicles, because you be here for 4 years, I'm fixing vehicles. That's not what I want to do. So make sure you do something that you like. Make sure you do your research. It's up to you and your recruiter. Like, talked about it the next week. I started doing my application, went to MAPS, did my verification test. I'm getting ready to go back to MAPS next week to do my physical. Everything goes good with that, then I will swear in, pick my job on Tuesday, and then hopefully